Congressman Joe Steen holds a town hall. Find out what he has to say tonight at 10.
The Cerro Grande Fire just absolutely erupted and is now burning out of control.
What started as a controlled burn was anything but.
Just a huge, huge blowout this afternoon of this fire.
There is an immediate threat to the town site. You are ordered to evacuate immediately.
25,000 people were forced out of their homes.
A lot of Los Alamos is going to be lost to this.
This is what many of them returned to.
In 26 years there. And there's nothing.
We've lost everything, all my neighbors. I love them so much.
Flames fueled by high winds jump from treetop to treetop.
Row after row of houses continues to burn, including this street right here. Beginning with this house, straight on down, each house is burning.
Some houses were spared.
Sometimes it burns through an area and it'll leave one house completely intact.
Others destroyed.
Houses and houses all in a row burned to the ground. It's just got to be heartbreaking for these folks. You can see this river of fire literally winding through Los Alamos and overtaking the city.
The hard work, dreams, and memories of more than 400 families reduced to ashes. The destruction, devastating. The efforts of firefighters, courageous.
You would see them all lined up against 50 to 100-foot tall flames.
Chief with the fire department was fighting the fire while his house went up next to it. Fighting the fire. They also put themselves at risk. We pulled our people back into safe zone. Los Alamos Fire Department continued to try to save the resident houses.
But at times, the flames and the wind proved to be just too much.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. It goes against our nature to pull up on a house and to basically knock the fire down to an acceptable level and move on. Normally, we put them out.
There were gutsy efforts.
If the flames don't get to the smoke, will. So you're trying to fight it with a hose? I'm just trying to wet down my area.
And guardian angels.
The winds were so strong they almost rolled the aircraft completely over. Slurry bomber pilots and the elite plane pilots, air attack, everybody. Tremendously heroic this afternoon.
And on the ground.
Thank you. I love you. You're my angel. You're my guardian angel.
And we're so grateful to the Parkers and the people that saved our houses. We'll owe them forever.
They weren't the only heroes.
This is a corridor of fire dividing our state right now.
As New Mexico burned, New Mexicans poured their hearts out to help and give hope.
We have a check for $800 from Puesto del Sol Elementary.
It warms the heart to see what's happening there at the station in Albuquerque.
You almost want to cry, like I say, seeing just how hard people are working here to make better the worst of situations.
On May 4th, the Cerro Grande prescribed burn was set by the National Park Service. Now more than 47,000 acres have been charred to the ground. As Los Alamos burned, many parts of New Mexico were on fire.
It became the largest wildfire in New Mexico history, with a 90-mile perimeter and more than 1,500 firefighters battling a war on the front lines.
The entire city of Los Alamos was evacuated. Over 400 families lost the place they called home. Over 60 homes were lost near Cloudcroft.
The heartbreak of the homeowners and the human spirit of giving, these were the things that most captivated all of us over the last 4 weeks. Over the next hour, we'd like to share with you some video and stories that never aired while the fires were burning. We'll talk candidly with firefighters on the ground and in the air. We'll also meet some unlikely heroes. And finally, we'll discover the amazing will to survive that has emerged from the ashes of the wildfire. Everyone knew we had perfect conditions for a major forest fire. We had tinder dry conditions. We had very little rain, and of course we had our spring winds. But really, that's why prescribed burns are set in the first place, to clear out the fuel, to prevent a major disaster. But when the National Park Service set that fire on Cerro Grande Peak, it quickly got out of control.
Pictures, they explain everything. Homes going up in flames. At last count, 30 of them in the Cerro Grande fire. The homes located on the western edge of Los Alamos.
Right now, firefighters are in a retreat mode. That means they have backed off of these subdivisions. There are 2 of them. And that means they're pretty much giving it up in that area. Of course, they're giving it a valiant effort, doing their very best. This is a sea of fire lacing through Los Alamos. Earlier this evening, just a few moments ago, we talked with Governor Johnson, him not being too optimistic about the efforts tonight. And again, fire raging through Los Alamos and winds going to be whipping up through tomorrow.
For Los Alamos, though, it looks like it's going to be a continued uphill fight as we move into tonight, trying to just tread water and hold their own into tomorrow when they're probably going to lose even more ground. I hope I'm wrong with this, but I think tomorrow is going to be an even windier day.
Well, the winds were really what fueled this whole group. If it had not been for the winds, they would have probably been able to contain this contained fire that they were trying to do, this prescribed burn, and it wouldn't have been an issue. And then the other thing that happened was the winds became so vigorous, became so strong, that the firefighters could no longer contain. They couldn't even contain at that point. They were just trying to stay out of harm's way, and they were trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
Right now, we still have many homes burning. How many homes? I don't think anybody really knows, Art and Deanna. Right now, we're closing on the fire. It's about 150 yards away, this way. Jump the fence. If the flames don't get you, the smoke will. Oh, you will. I'm going to go back to my house. Right here on Ridgeway Road, we can feel the heat from these fires. Several homes are burning right now. Not a sign of a single firefighter, but we did find one young man trying to protect his house with a garden hose. This is your house here we're next to?
Yes.
And you don't feel like you got to leave yet?
No, I'm not leaving. The family, they're at home, or they're somewhere else, so.
Aren't you concerned that what's there right now could be here right now?
Yeah, hopefully not, though. Hopefully not.
So you're trying to fight it with a hose?
I'm just trying to wet down my area and wet down my roof.
This is an inferno. Several homes are on fire, and here's the front end of the fire. Moving back into the forest, more homes are just down the road, and the wind only continues to push this fire. I'm just really concerned about you guys. You should get out of here.
Thankfully, those guys were able to save their homes, but hundreds of others weren't so fortunate.
I didn't know what to expect when I first came in. I did not know how bad it was. I could see the smoke billowing as we were driving up the interstate, but it was really when we set up at the site, and we were set up in an area which was right by the Los Alamos Canyon, right on this side of the laboratory. So we had a very good view. And then we started to see the fire jumping. You could see it flare up sometimes 150 to 200 feet up in the air from where we were. And you could see how close it was, and you could see how large, how overwhelming it was.
Should we get on your roof? Should we get on the roof? Mark, we gotta get out of here, bud. Okay. John, let me do a stand-up. Quick. Okay, ready? Ready? Go, go, go. Right now, these guys are fighting this fire with a garden hose, trying to protect 3, 2, 1. Go. Right now, these guys are trying to protect their home with a garden hose. Obviously, the fire is only gaining in intensity. This is when we get out of here, and we're going to encourage these guys to do the same.
2536, 2537, 2545, 2548.
Coming up, the list is read of the homes destroyed by the wildfires.
2557.
Ooh, Billy snack bars. Come on, Fluffy. Let's see what you've learned. Sit. Good boy. We deserve a treat for that. Cheesecake.
Yo, yo.
Down.
Yo.
Very good. Up.
Yo, yo.
That's really incredible.
Treat yourself to the rich and creamy cheesecake taste of Philadelphia snack bars.
Here you go, Fluffy.
They're a little taste of heaven.
Don't make me come up there.
It's an all-out summer sellout at Southwest Hyundai. Hey, folks, Kyle Park here in Lomas in Pennsylvania. We're saying thank you for a huge month of May. We set all kinds of sales records. We're passing the savings on during the summer sellout, where you can buy a brand new 4-door Elantra wagon for only $12,988. Why shop anywhere else? That comes with that Hyundai Advantage, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Just pick up the phone and give us a call, or make the short drive to Lomas in Pennsylvania during the all-out summer sellout, only at Southwest Hyundai.
We're KRQE News 13, on your side. If you missed 10 at 10 this week, you missed an important story that could prevent your home from burning to the ground. When a firefighter lost his home to flames, he made a startling discovery. It's found in a popular brand of disposable diapers. We showed you how easy it is to add the extra protection. Now you can find out how to get your own fire prevention kits by logging on to KRQE.com. We're KRQE News 13, on your side.
By Wednesday, May 10th, just 6 days after the start of the burn, the town of Los Alamos knew it was in deep trouble. In the next few days, it appeared the entire state of New Mexico held its breath, wanting to know how bad this thing would get. Well, it was then that this disaster became very personal as people learned the fate of their homes.
2536, 2537, 2545, 2548, 2556, 2557, 2568, 2582, 2587, 2593. That is all.
Let's do this. Let's go to Kim Baez, because she's going to read the list of the addresses.
This is a very organized list, so it's going to go ahead and be by community and then street, and then I'm going to name the street number. All of these first entries are the North Community. We start off with 35th Street. And the addresses are 2539, 2543.
It was just amazing how many, you know, I got through one page, and it was a hard page, and there were 4 more pages, I think, to still go through. And just going through every home, by the time I reached that last page, it was just, that's when it sunk in how much this had affected this town, how much this had affected families, how many families this had affected, how many people were without a home to go back to.
2483. And I have to tell you that until I read this list, I mean, we've been out here and the destruction has just been amazing, from the air, from the ground. You know, every time you see it, it breaks your heart. But to actually sit here and have to read this list and see the number of people out here that don't have a home, it's really hard. My heart, along with everybody else out here, goes out to these people. 2639, 2689. Now we go to 46th Street. Also on the North Community. We began with 2027.
There was occasional joy of a home spared by the fire, but always tempered by the grief of an entire community.
Wall still. Still there?
2460. 2462.
Amazing. The trees are still standing.
Few, if any,
words can describe the emotions of people like Bill and Yvonne Laughlin when they see what used to be their home now turned to rubble.
It's just horrible. In 26 years there. And there's nothing.
Well, the Laughlins already knew their home had been destroyed. They say nothing could have prepared them for seeing it with their own eyes.
It's hard to take. Something that shouldn't have happened.
Hundreds of other Los Alamos families are in the same situation as the Laughlins. No house to go home to. Others are luckier.
Oh my God, this is beautiful.
But for families like the Fieldmans, their joy is short-lived.
See, all the houses on the other side, you see the smoke over there.
When the rest of the families will be able to come in and see what's left of their homes is still unknown. There's still a lagging danger here. Down power lines cover the street, and homes continue to smolder. There is also no power or gas, and until there is, families will not be allowed back in to stay. But when they do come back, they'll return to a neighborhood that will never be the same.
No one who lives there will ever forget this. And they, like all of us, will always remember the video and what we saw and that night that it got so bad and the days to follow. But at the same time, it's like there's so much hope there. There's so much support there. Everybody's there for each other, and you can't believe what people are willing to give to each other because they don't have. And it's just tremendous support.
It's now 11 p.m. Wednesday night, and what everybody fears continues to unfold. More houses up in flames.
Next, emotions rage as the flames grow. Anger erupts along with the wildfires.
Your mother always told you it's not polite to stare. But who can blame you for taking a closer look at this extra-long deluxe burger from Burger King? A generous flame-broiled burger topped with everything you crave. And now just 99 cents. Careful, it's also not polite to drool.
The extra long deluxe burger, just 99 cents. Get it with fries and a drink.
Got the urge?
Hey, New Mexico, Billy Fernandez here to tell you about a huge deal we have. Hyundai Accent, brand new, for only $84.50. Doesn't get any better. And that comes with the 10-year, 100,000-mile Hyundai Advantage warranty. Why would you shop for a used car? Why would you shop for a Honda, Toyota, or Nissan? It doesn't get any better. The financing, unbelievable. When you talk about huge deals here at Southwest Hyundai, it doesn't get any huger than this deal. Come see us and save money at Southwest.
Do you know which car seat is best for your child? If your baby is less than 1 year old and under 20 pounds, a rear-facing car seat is the safest. If your toddler is over the age of 1, between 20 and 40 pounds, a forward-facing seat is most secure. All children are better protected in the back seat of the car. For a free brochure, call Safer New Mexico now at 1-800-231-6145. Buckle up your kids. Every child, every seat, every time.
Sponsored by New Mexico Department of Health, Injury Prevention EMS Bureau, aired by NMBA and this station.
With homes burning here in Los Alamos, many evacuees headed to White Rock, a small town just south and east of here. Less than a day later, White Rock was also evacuated. The fire had consumed not only homes and acreage, it had ignited a need for answers.
There is not a person in the county of Los Alamos, whether they be residents or people that work there, who has not been through holy hell this past week. Every single night, I saw my house on fire. Or Wednesday night, I saw my house on fire. All the western area houses look alike. You know, I know people with babies who have been running all over, trying to first to White Rock and then to Santa Fe, brand new babies. Nobody seems to be addressing the issue of what this town has gone through. All of it.
The Energy and Natural Resources Committee has already asked the General Accounting Office to begin an investigation as to how this started, and did somebody do something that should not have been done, considering the dry condition, the drought, and the winds.
If you're responsible for something, you stand up and you take responsibility and you try to make things right.
We initiated the prescribed fire based on our prescription and our desire to fireproof that area of the monument. It was my decision.
With no home and not sure what the next step should be, many people struggled with a hastily assembled system, and frustrations grew.
I am a real believer in the fact that the federal government is at fault here.
She has minimum wage workers, wait staff, cooks, dishwashers. They need a check right now. They don't need it in 3 weeks.
It seemed to progress. The longer he stayed in the area, the more times he saw the fire. And we interviewed him a number of times throughout the days that this was happening. And you could just see the frustration was building within the governor, just talking about, you know, the people losing their houses, the government's to blame. It seemed like he was getting more and more frustrated.
FEMA is making everything available that can be made available. Emergency declaration, the disaster declaration, everything they can do, they are doing. It's up to our congressional delegation. They're all bought into it to submit legislation that, again, is going to make everybody whole.
Rentals in Los Alamos are far and few. A lot of those areas that were burned out were rentals. I haven't heard anything about that. I keep hearing everything about the home builders.
I think I could live with a lesser quality house if it had been destroyed by an accidental act of God and not by Mr. Weaver. And I want the same quality house that I've been forced to leave.
I don't think I found anybody who was sympathetic to the Park Service, the Forest Service side, people that set the fire. While I was there, I don't think I ran into anybody who was sympathetic to their situation.
To know what the needs are.
People packed the third-floor conference room at the Hilltop Hotel tonight. Veterinarians, gas station owners, travel agents, restaurateurs, and more, all wanting to know what to do next.
We all lost business for 2 weeks, and that's petty. But compared to what other people lost, but how can you help us?
The Los Alamos Chamber of Commerce brought the governor and a law expert to talk to the crowd tonight. Also, a representative from the Small Business Administration spoke, but the crowd did not want to hear about loans.
I don't want a loan. I want you to give me something.
No, I totally understand. I completely understand.
I don't want a loan. I want a grant or something, some assurance that I'm going to be able to live somewhere and still run my business. It wouldn't sound mine, which I don't have right now, obviously.
Governor Gary Johnson told the crowd to be patient. He says he knows the money will come.
I'm confident that the federal government is going to come through here, but it's not going to happen overnight. No, nobody's going to write you a check walking out the door.
Even with an assurance from the governor, many of these owners left tonight's meeting still unsure about the future.
Next, the air attack intensifies and unlikely heroes emerge.
Huaque Pueblo, located 15 miles north of Santa Fe, is bringing a new and exciting future to its community. Using the economic resources provided by gaming, tribal leaders have reinvested in new businesses, creating jobs in the area. Tribal leaders have reinvested in programs to aid senior citizens, to assist the children, to improve the health and well-being of the community, and to renew the culture. Huaque Pueblo, a leader in reinvesting in community culture and families.
Over your head and worthless ads from our competitors? Don't throw them away. Recycle them as paper airplanes for fun and more. Enjoy television at its best with a remarkable Panasonic projection TV at BIOS, featuring Panasonic's dome sound system and advanced picture-in-picture.
And they make great collector's items.
What? The best buys are at BIOS.
Only Casa Automotive Group can bring you 0% over invoice. 0% over invoice on new Jeeps, Chevys, Pontiacs, Chryslers, Buicks, GMC. Plus, 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. 500 cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, and 4x4s. Every new vehicle on our 3 lots. 0% over invoice, 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days. Only at the grand reopening event held over this week.
Welcome home to Casa.
Casa Chrysler Jeep on the west side. Casa Buick Pontiac GMC on San Mateo. And Casa Chevrolet.
Hello, Dan Rather in New York with a CBS congratulations to KRQE News 13, this year's Associated Press News Station of the Year. News 13 has also taken first place awards in the top news categories, including breaking news, investigative reporting, and sports. That's big news for KRQE News 13 and for you. It means you can count on the team at News 13 to bring you quality news every day. So it's a tip of the Stetson to KRQE News 13.
During times of tragedy and extreme stress, ordinary people will do extraordinary things. Right now, we want to share with you some never-before-seen footage and comments from those who fought this fire.
Probably the most impressive thing to me early on was the intensity of the aerial attack.
It's spreading out. The whole head is spreading out. We'll have to hit kind of a wider area now.
Okay. The images of lumbering air tankers and big helicopters are common ones from our wildfires. Less often do we see the men and women who skillfully fly these machines into places and conditions few people can imagine.
Okay, turn final.
Early in the Cerro Grande fire above Los Alamos, pilots of small twin-engine lead planes struggled through almost hurricane-force winds to guide the giant air tankers to exact spots, places where the orange retardant may slow or redirect the raging inferno just enough to make a difference.
The highway comes out kind of forks, Gordon, so I guess just be right on me. I've been in it a couple times.
The problem is the tremendous updrafts and downdrafts. Coming off the back of this fire on the flash run that I'd made, I was getting 3,000-4,000 feet a minute down, and we can't put an air tanker in there because they can't recover from that.
Problem is we don't have a tanker, but if we put it right about the middle of the head and let it run up to it, that's the best we can do.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I wouldn't try to get on the north end of it because I don't think you can.
Your airspeed and altitude must be low enough to allow the retardant to coat the foliage properly. Skimming just 150 feet above the ground is best.
One crew was killed here in '98, but the accidents very seldom happen during the drop. They'll happen orbiting the fire in preparation for the drop, or somebody chooses a wrong escape route or something.
After dropping their loads, it's back to places like the air tanker base at Albuquerque. Here, in just a few minutes, and with props still spinning, ground crews pump thousands of gallons of retardant on board. Then it's back over the fire. It is a grind duplicated by helicopter crews, hauling tons of water or retardant up to hot spots. When smoke is thick and visibility gets too low for air tankers, the copters are often still out on the line.
Oh, it's one of the worst I've seen. But what we can do and what we have been doing is protecting houses, protecting settlements and residential areas.
While the air crews often take significant risks to do their work, they know that more teams on the fire line below are doing the same.
Sometimes it's looked like a really glorious, glamorous job, and they're the ones that are forgotten. So we're really down there to protect them and help them out.
Hour after hour, day after day. As long as there's enough light to see a bit, and a chance of helping people and forest in harm's way.
There was a lot of fire. There was fire everywhere. It's like the end of the world. It's like
driving through a scene of a bad war movie, and you're the star. Wednesday was the big day. We had lost fire out there at TA-16 where we were protecting the laboratory. At that time, we almost lost our engine, almost lost 2 MT units, some personnel, and we saw a little wisp of smoke off about 80, 90 yards off the road. Next thing I know, it was just in a raging inferno. I just saw my lieutenant and 2 firefighters running for their lives, and I was really worried about if I could, if I could protect them if need be, but it was so fast and so, it was terrifying.
When we went into LA Canyon, and some of us were told to come over to Station 1 and reassemble a crew to go to the town site, and we saw the amount of smoke and fire across the canyon, we knew we had our work cut out for us. Down in Sandia, it was like the 4th of July. There was trees amongst the homes, and when they'd go up, just spray embers everywhere. And it was just raining fire.
It's unstoppable. You might as well be taking a water pistol to a bonfire and see what you can do there. And that's exactly what it felt like.
All those photos, they tell a story, but they don't tell the complete story, because when things were out of control and we were busy, we didn't have time to take pictures. But there's a few in my head I'll never forget.
Been on a lot of wildland fires, and I've seen it do a lot of crazy stuff. And this one was something I've never seen, and I hope to God I'd never see again.
That's right. We are joined by Governor Gary Johnson. We want to thank you for coming and talking with us again. You've heard some grave news.
Well, I'm hearing news again. You've been reporting it all evening. This is the worst of circumstance. I mean, you couldn't script anything worse. It must be blowing 35 miles an hour right here into Los Alamos.
Despite that, they were out there trying, and that was incredible to me. I listened on the radio, and you could hear the anxiety in their voices. You could see the dangerous conditions and see as they struggled to fight the fire. I know that the people who were involved in the aerial campaign knew that there was a city in danger, knew that there was a national laboratory in danger. This was more than just a forest fire, more than just a wildfire. And they were taking chances. They were doing things they probably wouldn't do otherwise.
The plane went down during the noon hour only a mile from the eastern edge of the city of Alamogordo. The Cessna 337, a twin-engine plane similar to this one, was headed up to the Scott Abel fire to help locate hotspots and guide other firefighting aircraft. There was no emergency radio call, no indication there was any trouble. Rescuers say it appears the plane went almost straight down just 7 minutes after takeoff. Those killed include the pilot, Leo Kuppelman of Columbia, California, and Forester Sam Tobias, a friend to many in the Ruidoso area since he moved here 12 years ago. Tobias was an experienced air attack coordinator who used his vantage point in the sky to direct the work of air tankers, helicopters, and ground crews and keep them safe.
Yesterday, we lost 2 of our family. We're grieving today.
Colleagues say Sam also helped design better campgrounds and picnic areas and worked with summer residents, miners, and guides. In a statement from the Smoky Bear Ranger District, his friends say Sam was a big man with a soft voice that will be missed by everyone on the Lincoln National Forest and all his friends he made in the community. Many of his friends on the fire line say they know Sam is still up there watching over them.
This war was fought not only in the air, but on the ground. And not just by trained firefighters, but by people with big hearts.
Just
started wetting down flames and smoke, and you couldn't hardly see. And we felt we were kind of safe in the trucks because of the paved roads, just hoping I had enough water to get to the end of the street and enough to get back in case the truck started to catch on fire.
You can still see where the water landed. It's any place that isn't black.
We caught it before it was burning the deck. And same with these down here.
Thank you. I love you. You're my angel. You're my guardian angel.
Thanks. Take care, Ron.
Thanks, Guy.
No problem.
And we're... Sorry. We're so grateful to the Parkers and the people that saved our houses. We'll owe them forever.
While Brad Parker and his father were quite busy trying to save their neighbors' homes, this house was going up in flames. It was about 2 months into construction, and this was to be Brad's mom and dad's dream home.
It's heartbreaking because they worked many years and real hard, very hard, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful home, and I still was in shock that they were actually doing something for themselves.
I thought the whole world was on fire. You know, it was. I've never been that scared, but the adrenaline was pumping in everybody, and there was a few houses we didn't think we were going to get, but it just really hits hard in your heart when you know the people, and even the people you don't know, you know what they were going to go through.
Finally, the residents of Los Alamos are allowed to go home, if only for a brief time, after this.
Need a number across the country? It's easy, accurate, and always less when you dial 411 for numbers coast to coast, like this B&B here in Cape Cod. What time is breakfast, anyway?
411 from US West. One more reason life's better here.
Bored with fast food burgers? Then try Arby's 5 for $5.95 roast beef sandwich sale. For a limited time, stop in and get five Arby's regular roast beef sandwiches for only $5.95. Arby's delicious, tender, juicy roast beef, stacked high and topped with our tangy Arby's sauce, or our horsey sauce. 5 for $5.95. All served on a toasted sesame seed bun. Now that your tastes have grown up, think Arby's.
Are you sure that's the right number? When you really need the right number, dial 411 from US West. One more reason life's better here.
Need a career?
Turn around to be handcuffed.
Shooters, lock and load, fire!
Best thing you can do is talk to an inmate when you make a round.
198 is solid gold!
198 is solid gold!
If you have what it takes to walk the line on the toughest beat in the state, begin a law enforcement career with the New Mexico Corrections Department. Getting the job done.
Ten days after the wildfires, residents were allowed to tour the town. Now people who knew their homes were destroyed got a chance to see them in person.
After days of uncertainty and worry, the time is here. Time to set aside the images from TV and the papers and see for oneself. National Guard troops, police, and fire folks provided the escort. An honor guard of sorts into a war zone of tragedy. In a small way, a cruel journey. Most would not be able to do what they wanted most to do. Get out and sift for memories. Find any tiny pieces of their lives to grasp tightly during the long recovery and rebuilding process.
It's nothing like on TV. TV doesn't show the extent of the actual devastation. There's just ash. There's no rubble. There's no board standing. There's nothing around.
As the buses silently made their way down street after street, past ghost home after ghost home, occasionally a pause, a moment for one or two who just couldn't wait to venture briefly to the edge of the ashes, wonder about the future, and sometimes why one home and not another was visited by the flames.
I don't understand it. I mean, it's random. There's some houses standing in the middle of this zone where there's nothing, where it's just totally burned.
Occasionally, inside the buses, an odd noise, laughter.
They either had to laugh or cry. So most people chose to laugh, I guess, when they're in a crowd like that, but I'm sure underneath they were crying like I was. When we came to our house at 4397 Arizona, the house was gone, but our granddaughter's little bright red swing was still swinging in the tree. And, you know, it makes you think.
At other times, when a small survivor showed itself, applause. For all the figures spouted by officials of this or that agency, $1 billion here, 42,000 acres lost there, the real costs are in the hearts and lives of those who called this place home. For some, like Joe Martinez and Tiffany, there are no answers about where to go from here.
Red Cross, you know, shelters. I don't know. You know, I've been thinking about that, but I still don't know what I'm gonna do.
Most others say they will rebuild, and even the youngest know why.
Because it's a nice place. It's a really nice place.
Some who lost homes had fought for the safety of others.
I mean, you can't describe what it looks like out here.
Los Alamos County Police Officer Randy Foster patrols the neighborhoods leveled by the Cerro Grande Fire. But there's one house he knows all too well.
This is it.
His own.
Just put in a porch right here. As you can see, not much of a porch left.
The fire swept over this mountain, then roared through his neighborhood. He got out with just a change of clothes.
Silver, all the important things, watches that I've collected, medals and awards and badges from the police department and everything else, it just melted.
A home next door is untouched, but Foster says he does not feel sorry for himself. He says he still has a job to do.
I'd much rather be working and hopefully hoping some of these other people are going to be out here than to be sitting by watching it from a TV.
For now, Officer Foster is one of nearly 300 homeowners and tenants, wondering where the road ahead will lead.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we rebuild. You know, do I put up another house over here? Try and buy another one in the area? I don't know. I don't know if the insurance will cover everything or if it won't.
I ran into a guy that I think the third or fourth night there. And we were talking about the fires were flaring up somewhere else. And he said, he looked back at me and he says, well, my mom's lost her home. My sister's lost her home. And it looks like it's heading for mine now. And I remember I looked at him and I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to say. What do you say to somebody like that? That's going through that. And he said, no, it's okay. He says, it's okay. We're all safe. We've gotten out. He says, we can replace our belongings. He says, the important thing is that nobody in the family is hurt. And that kind of human spirit was what you heard and saw the entire time we were there. It was just amazing.
As the Thurgoods dig through the ashes of their home, they sometimes come upon memories that survived the fire.
Oh. Oh. Is it? I collected Lucy Me bears, and it was a wedding present.
Things as special as class rings and yearbooks have also been dug up.
Here's your yearbook, Melissa.
Oh, it's exciting to find things that you have, like finding the buried treasures and finding them intact.
But sadly, as they sift through the rubble, most of what the Thurgoods find isn't recognizable.
Digging. We've just started barely this afternoon to do it. We've tried to stay away from it for a while. But we're doing it.
But amidst all this pain, the Thurgoods still find laughter.
Back of the chair. Hey. Well, there's the bottom of it, so. Hey. We tell silly jokes, yes. Well, I think sometimes we cry and we see things that are important to us.
As the Thurgoods deal with their pain, right next door, families are expressing thanks to those who gave them a house to come home to.
Especially to the firefighters, which makes me well up every time I say the word, for saving our home. And so we know how indeed fortunate we are.
The thanks fills town in the form of green ribbons, hanging on businesses, on cars, and even on people. Even though every home couldn't be saved, this community is thankful.
The material things, they have a lot of memories in that. Some of these were wedding presents. They've been married 8 years. But, you know, we could live without them.
People helping people. The entire state responds. Next.
Why do my craft singles taste so good? Because every single one is filled with magic. Just follow me. It's the dairy fairy who waves her magic wand and mixes milk, magic, and fun.
2 out of 3 kids don't get the recommended amount of calcium. Luckily, when they eat Kraft Singles, they're getting calcium they need and the taste they love.
See? It's the dairy fairy who makes every craft single taste out of this world.
Kraft Singles. Magic every single time.
Over your head and worthless ads from our competitors? Don't throw them away. Recycle them as paper airplanes for fun and more. Enjoy television at its best with a remarkable Panasonic projection TV at BIOS, featuring Panasonic's Dome sound system and advanced picture-in-picture.
And they make great collector's items.
The best buys are at BIOS.
Next, Hollywood Squares. John Mellencamp, Neil Young, and Willie Nelson have raised millions with their annual charity event called
Hands Across All the Girls I've Loved.
Watch Kathleen Quinlan, Bo Derek, and Joan Rivers.
Let me tell you, Bo, you're a 10, I'm a Jewish 10, which is 3 with money. There it is.
Plus Sugar Ray and mega musician turned comedian Garth Brooks.
I'm so funny.
Next, Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares, Monday afternoon at 4 on KRQE News 13.
Time and time again during this tragic story, the people of New Mexico responded. The courage of those facing incredible adversity, the bravery of the firefighters fighting those fires, and finally the spirit of giving from an entire state. And it all led to a sense of hope.
Are you helping today?
Yes, I am.
You are? Why are you doing that?
Well, we just felt so sorry for the people of Los Alamos. So well, if this would have happened to us, we'd like people to help us. So we're, we're just helping out.
I agree too. Yeah. My name is Matt Lucchini reporting.
Are you donating today?
I just came to drop off some things. Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Because I feel that I can do my part just with things that I have around the house. I'm going to go to a few of my families and collect a lot of stuff and come back tomorrow.
You know, the whole state's pitching in here. You know, it's a bad situation that's being made as good as it possibly can be made.
This home video was shot during the evacuation of Los Alamos, but this evacuation took place after most of the 2-legged residents were out. It has never been seen before. Armando Hernandez shot this video. He works with the Animal Humane Association of New Mexico. He also worked side by side with Animal Planet's rescue crew. Ironically, the Animal Planet rescue truck had been in Albuquerque for a Humane Association event just 4 days before the Los Alamos evacuation.
They're not letting anybody up.
It was amazing. I thought it was going to be chaos. When we got to the first roadblock, of course, we were denied. Once we made a few phone calls, we got the clearance. After that, it was smooth. I could not believe how well it was organized.
Ernie will be in charge of staging.
The crews were brief, and the Animal Planet semi-truck served as a triage area. The crews would then head out into the homes and neighborhoods, gathering animals left behind.
There were some that did not want to go. Some large dogs that were very territorial, did not want to leave, but once we got them over to our side of the fence, they were babies. They were really sweet. They wanted to leave. I think they had enough smoke.
The animals were doctored and sometimes just given a bit of much-needed loving. No creature was too small. Even a ladybug hitched a ride with the rescue team.
Their owners are abandoning them. You can just imagine the separation anxiety that they were probably feeling, the terror, the smoke.
The crews pulled out 350 animals off the hill in Los Alamos.
It was close to midnight or just after midnight when we returned to the shelter there in Santa Fe. I was exhausted. I know everybody on that crew was exhausted. We had been working all day. When we were greeted by, gosh, it seemed like about 200 people coming to the truck when they saw us pull up, I was just delighted. When I went to the shelter, I had a young child come up to me and ask me about some rabbits on one of his streets that he lived on. And I told him I was in that area, and I myself retrieved those animals out of the yard. So I knew they were on the truck, and I knew they were coming in. He started crying, gave me a big hug, and told me thank you. Right then and there, that changed me. That made it all worthwhile.
The thing that's so different now about it is the people and how they've changed. It's just such a close community now. When I saw that, because I was an outsider, I never saw that. I never saw how willing people were to give to each other, how supportive they were of each other, and it's just a really tight community. And I don't know if it's always been like that, but I'm sure it's tighter now than it ever has. But it's just different. I mean, there's a different attitude there. There's a different atmosphere.
I got these 5. I grabbed them off my shelf and started recording over them.
Shawn Mills hasn't slept in days, glued to her television for a sign of hope.
Shawn, we understand that your mother lost her home.
Around 2 this morning, Shawn called our studios.
Everything, even the ashes of my father and my brother, were in the house and they're gone.
Her mother, June, fled her home with the clothes on her back, the jewelry on her hands, and her dogs by her side.
It's just devastating to see there's nothing there anymore. That's Los Alamos Canyon?
Yeah, this is,
For 3 days, the Mills studied these pictures.
Single-dwelling houses? I don't think so. Now, the old street.
Looking for landmarks leading to their home.
We start off with 35th Street. The address is on.
And the moment of truth came.
Now we go to 46th Street.
And waiting for the worst came to an end.
It's not there.
The fire that jumped from home to home somehow jumped over June's 46th Street home.
They've lost everything, all my neighbors. And I love them so much.
To Shawn, it's a miracle. But for June, it's 40 years left to rebuild.
I don't know what to do besides tell all my neighbors that I love you dearly. And I miss all of you. And I want my neighborhood back again. I want it back.
To date, New Mexicans and others throughout the United States have donated an estimated $1.2 million to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund.
In addition to money, donations have come in every form imaginable, from 10,000 business suits to prom attire collected by high school students for their peers in Los Alamos.
8 shelters have been opened by the Red Cross during these New Mexico wildfires, and 9 feeding sites. Close to 60,000 meals have been served, and over 450 people have been sheltered. But now the summer rains will begin, and the people of Los Alamos must brace themselves for the potential of major flooding. A federal campaign is underway to shore up the areas burned by the Cerro Grande Fire.
And in the aftermath of this disaster, Interior Secretary Bruce Babbitt says the National Park Service will be barred indefinitely from setting prescribed burns.
But for now, New Mexico will rebuild here and the other areas scarred by the wildfires. The forest will take decades to regenerate, but the people, they've already begun to return, rebuild, and heal.
I remember how it used to feel, riding down old 2 Mile Hill. Tennis shoes up on the handlebars, paying no mind to the passing cars. No doubts, no fears, just like when you are here. No chains, no strings, no fences, no walls, no net, just you to kiss me when I fall apart. No took a little time to get up to speed, to find the confidence and strength I need, to just let go and reach for the sky. You know, sometimes it felt I could find out. No fear, just like when you are here. No chains, no strings.